This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Hey y'all, I'm April.
And I'm Caroline.
And this
is your Bloody Happy Hour.
Caroline, are you ready for this?
This is your newest guilty pleasure.
It's the bloodiest part of your week.
Did we say something about it also being happy hour?
Show did.
Because we about to be sipping on some murder. Bloody Happy Hour.
Hey y'all, this is April.
And this is Caroline.
This is Bloody Happy Hour here.
We are here, and here we are.
And here we are. And it is
we are.
Thursday, and it is True Crime Day, and it is Thirsty Thursday. And hello.
We have a very wild ride that we're going to go on today.
Good.
But first, since we we have to touch on this other little story before we get started with this story.
Yeah, we skipped a quickie.
I don't know if you've heard of this story. It's barely been in the news.
And I always wonder, like, if it's big in Texas, is it big everywhere else? Is it big everywhere else?
It's everywhere. I mean, I'm seeing it all over YouTube. Everybody's like the big account. Yes, it's everywhere.
So the Austin
Metcalf
murder
and the basketball player's name.
I just lost it. Carmelo
Anthony. So if you haven't heard about this, you may be living under a rock because I really think it's everywhere. But maybe people actually watch like news and don't just listen to podcasts and watch YouTube. But kids are at a track meet. They're under this, every school has their tent that they're supposed to be under. I don't know if Carmelo was I don't know. I've heard different things. He wasn't supposed to be at this track meet. And then he ended up going up under he went under this tent that wasn't his school's tent. Mm-hmm. And Austin comes up to him and says, hey, you need to leave. This is not your tent. And Carmelo's like, you need to make me. And like picks him up by the backpack and physically moves him. And then Carmelo gets a knife out of his bag, stabs him in the chest. And then that's it. He dies.
Yes. But Carmelo was an athlete, track athlete. Austin was not a track athlete. He was an athlete. He was not a track athlete. So think about
Why are you a track athlete? I don't know.
Well, watching it.
Oh, okay.
Right? I wasn't at track, but I wasn't a track athlete, but I loved watching the running events. And then you think about that day, it was rainy. I was reading the police report, and it was like raining, crazy raining.
Yes.
So everybody was kind of gathered under different people's tents. And it's kind of like it always, or how I pictured it always was, right? If you run the 4x4, but you're running against, I don't know, so-and-so middle school, you might go over there and talk to the other 4x4 runners at so-and-so high schools. I don't know what the conversation was, but he was not under his school's tent. And the conversation was, you don't need to be under this school's tent. And so Carmelo did warn him, don't put your hands on me. And because somebody that knows Austin. Mm-hmm. I know somebody that goes to the schools. Yeah. And anyways,
I think even he said, like, whenever he was getting arrested, or because then he ran, and then the police get him, and he says, I did it.
Yeah.
And then he said, what did he ask if he's like, can I say it was self-defense or something? I don't know if he said that.
No, he said, I was defending myself. He put his hands on me. I read the report today. Okay. I read the report to me. He says, I was defending was the first thing. He was sitting there on the fence, up against the fence, and he had his hands up when the police came up to him. And the police knew what he had on because there was a description. He didn't run. He would just stood up against the fence waiting. And so he said, and the police asked him his name, and he says, I'm Carmelo. He says, I was defending myself. When you read the brother's report, so twin brother's report, the twin brother says, my brother grabbed him and jacked him up and threw him down, and then he went into his backpack and he grabbed something and he stabbed him and he took off. So his own brother did say that he grabbed him and he jacked him up.
Why can't people just fight normal?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know why he had a knife. I don't know why you just can't fight and get him on. I don't know why his brother thought he needed to remove him from under the tent.
Well, because
it turned racial because the initial conversation was people were saying that Austin was like, you don't belong under here. Like
I know.
We don't
and
take kindly to your kind. But then it turned racial that
he's a white supremacist and all that.
No, then it turned racial that Carmelo killed him because he's white. So then it turned racial on both sides when it really was somebody died. And it should have just been a fight. It should have been
just fight.
It should have been whether it was a bully attacking this little kid and this little a mismatch fight. He just should have either got beat up or he should have defended himself and left, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to be. I have no idea how it's going to be, but it is turning into now this family can't grieve his their son's life because now it's turning into could this be a stand your ground thing, right? Because Texas believes in if you put your hands on me and if I have a gun, I have a right to shoot you, right? If you put your hands on me, if I have a knife, do I have a right to stab you? But does that happen is that okay on the school grounds?
There's a guy on YouTube and he is a self-defense attorney, I guess, or that's what he specializes in is just he knows all the laws for that because it's different everywhere. And I'm interested to see his take, but I didn't watch it or listen to it yet because I don't know. I mean, I know if you're on your own property, you can defend yourself in any way.
I know. How does it go in this case? And you're at school, and then there's a knife. So then, does that mean there's premeditation, or does he just always have this knife? Well, then I heard that
there was something that happened the night before, or the week before, or something at a party. But
because allegedly they're known bullies, and that there has been some altercations before between them, allegedly, right?
Right.
Allegedly. So you don't know what the
and there was also
is.
These two, on Twitter or X, there was a fake account that was made for Frisco Police Department, a fake account that was made for whatever community that is, and coming up with all the so there's tons and tons of fake stuff out there that you don't even know. I mean, police report's real.
I read the police. This is what I like about the police report is Carmelo stood right there by the fence. The police came out and he handcuffed him and he went on his walkie-talkie, and that's when he was like, I have the alleged suspect. And Carmelo was like, no, I'm not alleged. I did it. I did do it. Is he going to be okay? And so the police was like, I don't know. I haven't been over there yet or whatever. And then the report says, I didn't ask him what happened. I didn't ask him, his side of the story. I just put him in the back of the car. Another police officer came over here and made sure Carmelo was in the back of the car and saw that there was a little bit of blood on his finger, took a picture of the blood. His report said, I didn't ask him what happened. I didn't, nobody asked Carmelo, what happened. But then over here under the fence, they asked all the kids over there, what happened.
30-something witnesses or something.
Yeah, and maybe some coaches, what happened.
Yeah.
But then their accounts were different. The twin brothers, the one who told the account that was that seemed the most volatile in the thing, that my brother, basically, when he wouldn't leave, my brother jacked him up. And then he said, leave me alone, basically. If you touch me, you'll regret it or something. Mm-hmm. Or don't put your hands on me. And his brother jacked him up. and then he went to his backpack and he stabbed him one time, and then he took off. And then so he tried to help his brother.
And he's got like got $1 million bond or something.
$1 million bond. Yeah,
That's a lot.
it is a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. And then they're
But
both
he's raising
great kids.
money. He raised the money on the GoFundMe.
They both are. But they're both great kids, right? They're both 4.0 students. They're both great athletes that had offers to go to college.
See,
they were
I've
both gonna
heard
be
that, and I've
college
heard
athletes.
the opposite of it.
I heard the opposite, that like that like Austin might have had like methamphetamine in his system, and that's why he was right.
Damn.
Isn't that horrible? That's why he might have been reacting the way that he was, like volatile like that. So you just don't want to put stuff out there, because if it was your son.
I know. My friend was talking about how she's glad that the boy, her younger boys who is like a nephew of
I think
the
you could
guy
look up
who
there
doesn't
247. I'll put this right there. You can look up there 247 and see if they have
What is that?
offers. They're athlete 247.
But just was glad that they didn't have, the kids were young enough. Relatives of Austin who I know she was just glad that they don't have social media to see all this, all the stuff that's going on, and like that's being, because it's just, there's just so much, and it's I mean, that happened was it 2 weeks ago now? Because
Was it already
was it last week? It could have been. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, it's that's just really sad that it gets to this level.
But a guy from Waco, I think, is representing, I think Carmelo. I think he was originally from Waco, or he was a lawyer from Waco. I think it's supposed to be, or I don't know if it's Austin's lawyer. I get them mixed up. If he's the defense, or I guess the family won't need a lawyer
I saw the guy
right
who's
now.
defending Carmelo. He's a white guy with like a salty,
What's his name?
gray beard. I don't know. I just saw a picture. I haven't watched those things yet because I'm busy watching. And let me tell you what else is going on in the news. We have Karen Reed's second trial is coming up, so they're in jury selection. We have Lori Vallow, who has already been convicted of killing her 2 kids and her husband's ex-wife, who was his wife at the time. She's on trial right now for the murder of her 4th husband, and she's representing herself. So it's very interesting to watch that. And then Corey Richens' trial is coming up. And then we have some stuff that's going on in Kohberger. And because Kohberger's supposed to start in August. And his attorneys are trying to say that, I don't know, there's just a whole bunch of different motions that are happening right now. But there's just a lot that's about to start at the same time. So it's pretty good. But let's see. Do you want to go to... I don't want to go to Massachusetts, but we're going to start off there. And we're going to end in... Where are we ending in? Arizona? I don't remember. But, are you ready?
Yeah. Now I gotta see, hold on. Now I got to see if these kids really did have like football opportunities, or were they lying about both of them? Oh well. Okay. I can't see it. If so, they probably deleted it all.
Oh, that's true.
Okay.
Okay. Let me set the scene. It's February 12th, 2010. Just like any other day at the University of Alabama, professors are getting ready to go to a conference meeting or go to a meeting in the conference room, and just like any typical faculty meeting. And after about 45 minutes, one of the faculty members in the meeting stands up, pulls out a gun, and starts firing.
Oh, shit. She had a bad day.
It's total chaos, and they try to flee, but 3 are left dead. And this was not some random act of violence. And when investigators started looking into this person's past, they uncovered several things that were very disturbing and deeply buried. And everyone was like, how did no one see this coming? Dun, dun, dun.
Let's do it.
Have you heard of Amy Bishop? I feel like you might have heard. This might ring a bell because anyway, we'll see.
Did we cover it in a quickie?
Nope. Amy was born April 24th, 1965. Her parents, Judy and Sam Bishop. She was born in Iowa, where her father was completing his graduate studies. And then in 1968, he got a job as a professor at Northeastern University in Boston and moved the family to Braintree, Massachusetts. So this same year, Amy's younger brother, Seth, was born. And growing up, Amy and Seth were raised in an environment that they were like education, art, science, and it was a very smart, they were a very intelligent family.
Okay.
And both of the kids were musically talented. Amy started playing the violin in 3rd grade, and she was an accomplished violinist. I don't know how a 3rd grade accomplished.
Classical,
I
probably.
think so, basically. And Seth was he also took up violin, but then Amy started to feel like a little bit of an outsider. I mean, she was like really smart and gifted, but she was like a little socially awkward, and she kind of had random outbursts and stuff.
Terrific.
She said that her mom had said that she had her dad's temper. Whatever that means. So basically, that was all that was the mom, Judy. That's all she really ever said about her. She was kind of the protector of the family, so she didn't really say too much about Amy.
Older or middle? What was
Amy,
she?
it's 1 and 2. Amy's the older.
Okay.
Seth is the younger brother. So Judy, the mom, would never say anything negative about her kids or her family. People love Judy. They love the family. They're very involved with the community and their neighbors, and seemed like a just close-knit little family. In the 1980s, Amy graduated from high school, and she wanted to go into a career in science. Her brother Seth also excelled in everything he did.
Oh, Seth.
Being a violinist, a member of the Greater Boston Youth Symphony Orchestra, he was going on to study electrical engineering, and he was a positive guy who everyone loved, dare I say bubbly.
Bubbly.
But on December 6, 1986, 21-year-old Amy shoots and kills her 18-year-old brother, Seth, with a shotgun in the family kitchen. But here's what happened, allegedly. On the day of the accident, Amy's mom...
That escalated real quickly.
The only witness to this accident said that her and Seth were in the kitchen making lunch. Amy comes downstairs, and she has her dad's shotgun. And she's like, oh, this bullet is lodged, and I need help unloading this gun.
Amy's got her daddy's shotgun.
Yeah, she got the temper, and she's socially awkward, and she's the older one. And she gets this gun, and she's like randomly decides to come downstairs, say she needs help with the shotgun because the bullet's lodged in it.
Yeah.
So she needed help
unloading
this gun, and she didn't know how to do it. So Mama Judy was like, well, just pump the gun. Like, hey, Amy, pump the gun and eject the shell. Well,
Judy, ma'am, you did not say that.
So she pumped, and the first shell is ejected, and then Amy pumped it again, which she should not have done.
No, you shouldn't have pumped it the
thinking
first
that it
time.
was empty. Did she really think it was empty?
No, Judy's covering for a
Pulled
psycho
the trigger and shot her brother right in the chest. Seth fell to the ground, and Amy took off and fled the house with the shotgun. Seth died of his injuries, and Amy was brought to the police station for questioning. I'm going to come back to this, and more comes about this story in a little bit. So hold on tight. So Amy tells the investigators that she was alone at the house, and at least she thought she was. She thought she was alone. She said that they had been robbed before recently, and so she thought she was alone, and she heard noises downstairs, so she grabs the gun, and she's going to go down and confront whoever's breaking into her house. That's why she was like feeling paranoid and anxious. she tells them that she goes to her parents' room, grabs the gun, loaded it, goes into her bedroom, tries to unload it and remove the shells, but instead the gun went off in her bedroom, shattering her bedroom mirror. And then after that happened, she said she heard her mom and her brother down in the kitchen. That's when she goes downstairs with the gun to ask Seth for help to unload it. And then it was an accident, and she told him she did not mean to kill her brother. So,
No.
this is in Massachusetts.
Two shits.
Two shits. And guess what? The Massachusetts State Police is on the case. Well, you know what? I've been hearing a lot about Massachusetts State Police lately because Karen retrial. And let me tell you, they ain't no good back in 1986, and they ain't no good now.
No good now.
So they determined that the shooting was an accident.
Oh, she was probably cute and blonde and blue eyes.
Go. I'm gonna need you to go in a little bit. I'm gonna tell you to look her up because she looked like Lord Farquhar with short little bob hair. I was terrible. It's terrible. So no charges were brought against Amy, and by 1988, the records of the shooting and this whole situation completely disappeared from the police records. So Seth, they tried.
Oh, because she was a minor. Was she a minor? Yeah.
No, she was 21.
Oh. Okay.
But apparently the records just disappeared. And after his death, family tries to move on. They kept his room the exact same, never touched it, never did anything. You know, that's all that stuff. Amy starts sleeping in her parents'... Well, why are you sleeping in your parents' bed when you're 21? I don't know. Why are you at your house? Anyway, she's apparently skipped over grieving and just hyper-focused and put all of her energy in school and education.
Oh, I want to take over my brother's spot and be number one now. I want to be the golden child.
Yep. And questions lingered for years, but nothing ever came of it that you know about yet. So, Amy continued on with her education. She enrolled in Northeastern University in Boston, where her father was a professor, and she pursued a degree in biology. She was she knew the other professors there because of her dad. And she was a serious and high-achieving student known for her intellectual focus.
Oh.
Wow.
Now that her brother's gone.
Yeah. While she's attending Northeastern, during her undergrad, she meets a student named James Anderson, and they're in the same program, and they actually meet playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Nope. Red flag.
And so the group hit it off. They hit it off. They started dating. They both get their biology degree in 1988, and the following year, they get married.
Okay.
Amy goes directly into graduate studies at Harvard.
Wow.
So she is now in this prestigious genetics doctoral program. And her and James go on to have 4 kids, 3 girls and 1 boy. Amy gets her PhD in genetics from Harvard in 1993 with her graduate research focused on cellular physiology. I mean, I have no idea what that is, but good for you, Amy. Get it, girl. She was doing her PhD work with other, while she was doing her PhD work, other people started saying how she wasn't very good. It was like poor quality, because I guess you have to do like research papers and all kinds of things. They said she did not deserve to have her doctoral degree. And this is apparently one person. They also reported to somewhere that she had... the fact that she graduated was local scandal number 1.
Oh, she's AI through college.
And I would have thought murdering your brother was local scandal number 1, but no, that's not. So in 1993, she got her degree and became a professor at Harvard's medical school. And what? I don't know. Apparently, James is just a bump on a log. He ain't doing nothing. Nothing.
Oh, because she's got to be better than everybody. So she probably just
he's at home. He's
playing video games.
Yeah, he's probably
Cheetos.
Yes, Cheerios and Cheetos. So while she's there, a professor named Paul Rosenberg had worked with Amy on her dissertation. Well, Paul goes and checks his mail one day. And he opens up a package, and it contained 2 pipe bombs. Oh. Luckily, these were homemade-looking pipe bombs. They did not explode or detonate. And investigators quickly turned to Amy and husband James as persons of interest.
They're anti-Semitics because he's Jewish.
I don't know, but apparently this was around the time of the Unabomber.
Okay. So
rumors were going around that Amy did not like Professor Paul, and she felt like he was getting in the way of her receiving her doctorate. I thought she was already a teacher. Then friends come forward and they're like, oh, we heard Amy and James jokingly talking about how do you build a pipe bomb? Because the Unabomber's building these pipe bombs. How do you build a pipe bomb? We should do that, lol. LOL.
And they couldn't even do that right.
No. So Amy and James were questioned by federal agents. They denied any involvement. No charges were filed because there was no concrete evidence connecting them to the homemade bombs. So it's just a mystery of who sent these bombs. And this incident was also kept quiet, and it came to light years later, whenever I'll tell you in a second. So Amy also, she's just got this stuff stacking up. So just keep all this in mind. Amy also had a passion for creative writing. Okay. And she believed that her writing would be the ticket out of the academic world. She joined a local writing group, and people in her group, unfortunately, did not like her. They thought she was intense, and she just bragged about herself. She said she had a literary agent, and she said that anytime she would get feedback from the group on, I guess, her writing, she just personally attacked anyone who was like, remember, I have a Harvard degree.
Oh, my goodness.
I can't.
Love her.
By the end of the 1990s, she had written 3 novels. None of them have been published, but she wrote them. And they all were the same kind of dark thrillers that had stories about a person who had a career in science, and they were haunted by a death in their past, but by the end, they would be forgiven by God.
Wow.
Does that ring a bell? Then there was an incident at IHOP where Amy and her 4 kids and James go for breakfast. And Amy asked the waitress for a booster seat. And the waitress was like, we don't have any left. And she was like, we were in line before. You just gave that one lady the last booster seat. We were here first. And she's like, I'm sorry, ma'am. She has the seat. Obviously, kids are already sitting in it. So Amy goes over to the lady and starts yelling at her.
Entitled.
And is like, do you know who I am? I am Dr. Amy Bishop.
Listen.
And this poor lady's over here trying to eat pancakes and sausage. Nothing. She's like, manager finally comes over and is like, you need to leave, ma'am.
Please
You
leave.
need to get. But she's like, pretends to be walking out. Then she goes back to the lady and punches her in the head.
Oh, goodness. She is a pipe bomb.
She is a pipe bomb. So she's arrested and charged with assault and battery and disorderly conduct.
I wish they had a mugshots page back then.
Oh. Of course, the charges end up getting dropped.
Of course. How's she so lucky?
I don't know. And this incident wouldn't even appear on her record. I don't know how that happens. I don't know why. Then in 2003, Amy gets a job teaching biological sciences at the University of Alabama in Huntsville. So this is UAH. Great opportunity. Her and James and the kids moved to Alabama. UAH.
Okay.
University, Alabama, Huntsville. And while she was at this place, she taught 5 different college courses. So things start going downhill for her at this point. She has no family or friends around because they're all back in Massachusetts, and she's working all the time, taking care of the kids and the family, doing her creative writing. She's no sense of community. I mean, wow.
She's not cute. I don't know why people keep
Oh
letting
my
her
gosh, I know.
pass.
I know. Yes. People, any coworker, any faculty members who met her within the first 5 minutes were like, I don't know about that. They were like, she has mental health issues. Right after meeting her within 5 minutes, and they were like, something's off with her. We're worried about her mental health. I don't know. She wasn't popular with the students.
5150 or
5150. She had dismissed several graduate students from her lab and many other students throughout the years, asked to be transferred out of her class.
she's probably dismissing everybody that's smarter than her. She wants to be the smartest one.
She's terrible. She gets worse. Just wait. In 2009, it's about 6 years into Amy's time at University of Alabama, Huntsville, and several students end up complaining to the administrators about her, how she was just an overall bad teacher. And they end up saying that she was off and she had unsettling ways. And they even started a petition for her removal. But no action was taken,
How are you hated
of course.
by everybody? How do you get to a whole new state and everybody still hates
Everybody hates you. You cannot be not hated.
Yeah.
So then, in March 2009, she's denied tenure.
Yes. I was
Okay.
about to ask about tenure.
So, for those of you who are like me, and actually I did know what tenure was, but I feel like maybe not everybody will know. So, tenure, not getting tenure is a huge deal in academia. It's essentially job security and professional standing at a university or college. It can take several years to get. I don't know, like 10 years to get? Or it just takes several years to get. And there's a certain criteria you have to meet. You have to like publishing research, demonstrating effective teaching, some other things. And there's a period that you undergo a tenure review. If you get it, it's much harder to get fired. You gain a level of prestige, and it can impact everything from salary to research funding and your future as a whole.
Like you've made it as academic. You're not getting fired. If
you don't get tenure, you typically have to leave the institution. This is what I've read. And oftentimes you are, right away, your career is like stalled and you're gone. And you will likely struggle to find another job because they're like, oh, you didn't get tenure? Something's off. Which obviously something was off because everybody kept saying something was off. So it's like spending years and years and years of your whole life proving that you're the real deal with the right education and publishing and teaching and research to be told, no, goodbye. No. So being denied tenure is a huge personal and professional failure, and now you are probably suicidal.
And that's why she starts shooting.
Maybe. Actually, it is. So, and then if you go to like try to apply for a job at another college, it's a no. So Amy, once Amy found this out, once she found out she was denied tenure, it was IHOP all over again.
Oh, hell, she's flipping.
So she's pissed. She disagrees with the decision. She tries everything she could to fight it and prove that she deserves tenure. I don't know what that is, but she did it. So her last semester teaching at UAH would be spring of 2010, and she'd be done. That was it.
Oh, gone.
So several of Amy's coworkers had expressed concern over her intense behavior, saying that she would interrupt in meetings with weird rants, she would make off-the-wall comments, and she was overall not liked by anybody.
She is not well.
She is unwell. And it was hard for somebody to find one positive thing to say about her. And she found out a coworker called her crazy.
Well,
so she filed a complaint. I think her name might be Karen. She filed a complaint to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. And in this complaint, she said that she was a victim of sex discrimination.
Ooh.
And that the other professor had called her crazy was proof of this sexual discrimination.
Okay. So it's a boy.
So this person did not stand, like, he was like, I believe that she is off a rocker, 100%. And I believe that she is crazy, and she's out of touch with the reality, and she is mentally unwell. So this brings us to February 12th, 2010, where we started the story. That day, Amy taught her class, as usual, and a student later on said that she was her normal self in class, and then she went to this faculty meeting with the biology department with 13 other faculty members, staff, whatever you call them. in the conference room. So the meeting starts off. Amy just sits there. She's listening to the conversation. She technically does not have to be there because she's like done in like a day or mother or a couple months. But she just decided, they were like, well, we'll just let her come anyway because whatever, she's about to be gone. So let's just let her sit in anyways. And she sits there for almost an hour, says nothing the entire time. Then she quietly gets up, reaches into her pocket, pulls out a handgun, and starts shooting.
Oh, my goodness.
She started with the person closest to her. Then she went down the row of seated professors, shooting each one point blank in the head.
How many?
3.
Shoot.
A survivor later said it wasn't random and that Amy was going after people execution style, saying that because she didn't say a peep the whole time. There were people screaming, ducking for cover, but Amy was blocking the exit. She said that she instantly killed 3 people on her side of on Amy's side of the conference table, and everybody else drops to the floor. And that they said that she targeted 3 people who voted against her to not get her tenure.
Oh, wow.
I don't know, how do they even know that?
Maybe, like,
I don't know.
I'm sure there's a board of your peers, like a jury of your peers.
I know, but how does she know which ones voted against her?
They're probably right there in front of you, like when you do your comps, like for when you do like your dissertation for your master's.
They're gonna have to start
like
doing that on anonymous paper.
Yeah, now maybe.
So, we have so she instantly killed 3 people on her side of the table, and then everybody else went to the floor. So we have a biochemistry professor. Oh, okay. This lady named Deborah, a biochemistry professor, she was in the room. She dove under the table, crawled toward Amy, grabbed onto her legs, looked up at Amy, begged her to stop. Deborah remembers Amy pointed the gun at her.
Damn.
And all she heard was a click. It misfired. Oh. So right at that point, Deborah then runs into the hallway, and Amy follows her with the gun and is just click, click, click.
No.
It's jammed. The gun is jammed. So Amy is getting pissed, and she's starts hitting the gun, trying to get it unjammed. While she's trying to unjam it, Deborah runs back into the conference room where there's somebody else in there still, and they barricade the door. And Joseph Ang, he's an associate professor. He was one who was also in the room that said that Deborah was probably the reason that they were still alive.
Deborah, what have you done with your life since
I don't
then?
know, but we need to find Deborah.
I need to interview Deborah.
So on that day, 6 people had been shot, 3 fatally shot, and the incident lasted less than 1 minute. Victims were Gopi Padilla, who at the time was the chairman of the university's Department of Biological Sciences, Maria Davis, who was an associate professor of biology, and Adriel D. Johnson Sr., who was an associate professor of biology.
Wow.
Amy also wounded 3 other staff members who were taken to the hospital. 1 got released the next day, and 2 other victims who were shot were in the hospital for over 2 months. Went on to physically recover, but mentally, that's an awful memory to have.
Yeah.
After getting locked out of the meeting room from it being barricaded, Amy was super calm. She goes to the bathroom. She rinsed off the gun in the sink. She stuffed the gun in her blood-stained blazer and put it in the bathroom trash can. She then walks into one of the science labs where there's a student, and she asks the student to use the student's cell phone. She calls her husband, and she says, "I'm done." Gives the phone back. I guess he typically picks her up, but it was early in the day. She then tries to leave out the back door of the school and was quickly arrested by the police. And after she was arrested, Amy told police that the shooting didn't happen.
What are you talking about?
Huh? What are you talking about?
It's in your imagination.
I don't know what you talking? I don't have no, you see a gun?
And this kid that just heard 17 gunshots, still working on his lab in the biology
He
lab
has
room.
AirPods on. And he was
Dedicated.
dedicated. He was studying. He wanted to pass that test.
Dedicated to that lab. He should have passed.
The dedication. So she kept saying, there's no way I did this. There's no way I did this. Police were asking about her dead colleagues, and she's like,
What?
they're all still alive.
Yeah.
Ma'am,
That
this
wasn't
is
me.
3 seconds ago.
Somebody else with a chili bowl haircut.
Oh my gosh, Lady Farquhar, what was I called her? Lord Farquhar, what are you doing? At some point in the police interview, husband James, Well, I don't know what the story on James is. They didn't say much about him. I think he got issues.
All we need to know is Dungeons and Dragons. And
They,
that's enough.
yep, asking if he knew where she got the gun. Police are asking if they knew where he got the gun, and James told the police that they got the gun years earlier from a family friend, but he also told police that just a week before, they went to the gun range together for target practice, which they had never done before.
Listen, they were working on their marriage.
They were doing a fun family event activity. And after...
These poor kids.
I know.
Where are these kids at?
I don't know, but I don't know. I don't know where they are now. Well, actually, I know where one of them is. But after Amy was arrested, her past came back to haunt her, especially the accidental death of her brother, Seth. So Braintree police start looking into Seth's 1986 death a little differently now. But the problem was that, remember I said
Mr.
all
White.
the details and all the records had been gone and they're disappeared?
Where'd they just
So Braintree, the 2010, which is the current, which was at the time of the shooting, the current police chief, Paul Fraser, he had his own theory, and he believed that the police chief from back in 1986 was in cahoots with Amy's mama, Judy.
Oh, like they were...
I don't know what
doing the
cahoots
dirty?
means, but they just said a cahoot. So I don't know what, I thought that, but apparently, and it was maybe a cover-up or a situation where he was looking the other way. I don't know why else we would do that unless you like banging her.
Or getting,
So according to this new chief Fraser, Amy's mom was a big political supporter of the police chief at the time of the incident. And when Amy first got arrested, when she was younger, it was said that Judy went to the police station saying, I need to talk to so-and-so, but was calling the police chief by his first name.
Oh, let me talk to Sam.
I need to talk to Sam.
And
We're
not-
saying we're good friends. Called him by his first name. Other police thought it was weird, but they just were like, okay, yeah, here he is. So they spoke, and the officer who was questioning Amy was then told that this was an accident and to let her go. But according to Amy's mom, Judy, she denies those allegations, saying it was ridiculous and it never happened.
So do you think mom just wanted to, at least save her child? Or do you think she
Yes.
was embarrassed that she didn't want her, embarrassed that her kid was a psycho? Were they well-to-do?
They were smart and he had a good job. Do you make good money as a professor like that?
Her parents?
I would figure they were. I don't know. So 4 days after the shooting spree attack, police magically were able to find these missing files that had been missing for
Oh, where
years
they
and
at?
years and years
Sam's
and
house?
years. Mm-hmm. And after reviewing them, the district attorney said that Amy should have been charged.
Yes.
And here's why. So, remember how she accidentally shot her brother and then fled the house? Well, it turns out there's more to the story.
Uh-oh.
After shooting her brother, she took off. Remember I said she took off
Yeah.
through the back door. Okay, so she takes off. And she has the shotgun with her. And she runs through a wooded area. She ends up in an alley that came to a dead end to a car dealership. And there was employees working there. And Amy goes into the shop holding the gun, pointed at them, demanded them to give her keys to a car. But they ran out. They're like, go, bye. We're not talking. So they leave. The man ran out and they left her standing. She's now she goes outside of the dealership or this auto shop or whatever it is, but police were already on the lookout for her. So they're driving by and they see her and they're like, getting out of the car, like, put the gun down, drop the gun. And she has a firm grip on the gun. She's pointing it towards them.
Oh, hell.
And she doesn't drop the gun. And then she continues and they continue. And then finally one officer sneaks up behind her with gun pointed at her and is like, drop the gun, drop the weapon. Just like that. So she finally drops it, puts her hands up and gets arrested. Meanwhile, all of this was nowhere to be found until 20 years later. Okay. So with this new information, or with this information that they've newly found out, this police chief was like, yeah, she should have been charged, especially you're pointing a loaded gun at an officer, and that's a felony. And so the Massachusetts governor ordered the state police to review the investigation into Seth's death, and this new investigation gave some new shocking details. Apparently, the day of Seth's death, the home was not treated like a crime scene, which is typical for Massachusetts because that's just what they do. They just don't.
Still don't.
They just, exactly, they don't. They don't treat any, if you get hit by a car or allegedly, but a police officer has anything to do with it, they don't even question you. They just let you go off and do your own thing and they frame somebody else, but that's fine. So on the day of the death, the home was not treated like a crime scene. So, therefore, they have no proof or evidence. They had a few photos, though, and in one of these photos was a picture of Amy's room. And in this picture, they zoom in and they see a newspaper clipping of, like, an article from a crime that had been... It was an article about an actor named Patrick Duffy.
Okay.
Apparently, he used to be on the show Dallas.
Oh, I remember Dallas.
And his parents were killed with a 12-gauge shotgun, and the suspects fled to a car dealership after killing the parents, held up the dealership, stole a truck, and fled. So then now police believe that maybe this is some kind of inspiration, because if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck.
And was her mirror broken? Because remember she said she shot the mirror?
On top of that, in the police report, they said they also found a box of 25 rounds on Amy's bed. They found that one round was fired in her room. A second round was fired, used to kill her brother. A third round was found in her jacket pocket as she got arrested.
Oh, she was ready to shoot somebody else.
And a fourth round was in the chamber ready to fire.
Ooh, wee.
So according to police, at some point after shooting Seth, she must have racked the slide. The slide? Is that how you do it?
Prepped the gun.
And so she must have done that thing, loaded a fresh round before being arrested, which is kind of odd behavior if this is just an accident.
Yeah.
So 3 days after this shooting at UAH, she's charged with 1 count of capital murder and 3 counts of attempted murder. Okay, now, I was like, why are you charged with 1 count when you killed 3 people? But it's because she ends up taking a plea deal. So a few months later, June 2010, Amy is indicted for the 1986 killing of her brother.
Okay. No statute of limitations.
Now all the tea is starting to come out about the pipe bomb incident, the IHOP situation, her being shady about trying to get tenure, and Amy was just having a hard time coming to grips with her being charged. All this stuff is starting to come out, and she gets arrested. She's in jail. She's been in jail for 2 days, and she is trying to commit suicide.
She should.
And she failed. It says she told her friends something. I don't even think she has any friends, so I don't really believe that
Who
part.
Is she gonna call?
I think she's just telling, like, maybe her Dungeons and Dragons friends. And she's like, I don't want to spend the rest of my life in a tiny box. Ma'am, you've done lost your rights. So once she's in jail, her court-appointed lawyer goes to visit her and then comes out and is like, something is wrong with this lady, which it was. So Amy enters a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity. The defense hired a ton of different
because I need to know what she
psychiatrists
has.
to evaluate her, but they could not conclude that she had any certain mental illness. I think they tried to say she was like paranoid schizophrenic, but they were like, nope,
But
you're
she
not.
has something.
I think she just has she's just narcissistic and a sociopath, but that's not a mental disorder. That's just yourself and who you are as a person. So, sorry. A few months later, November 2010, two of the survivors from the university shootings filed lawsuits against Amy and James. I don't know why they just looped James in it, but they did.
Two of the what?
Two of the survivors of the shooting.
James. Because
husband.
They bought the
I
gun
guess.
together.
The-
They
and
think
then-
Jamie knew
Yeah.
because they went on the shooting practice together.
Yeah. And then two of the victims' families filed wrongful death lawsuits against Amy, James, and the university. And then Amy's lawyer is like, hey, so now we're talking, so she's already pled, what did she plead on her brothers?
What is Mom and Daddy still alive? Like, does Judy regret what she did yet?
Oh, no, Judy.
I need to interview Judy.
Yeah. So now we're talking about the murders of the professors, and her lawyer is like, you need to plead guilty in exchange for the deal that you need to take the deal that the prosecution is offering you, and urged her to plead guilty in exchange so they would not seek the death penalty. And she was like, well, I want the death penalty. And he was like, well, even if you get the death sentence, it takes forever, as we've talked about, for them actually to kill you. So I advise you against it. So finally, September 2012, Amy decides to plead guilty. And there was still a short trial because in Arizona, there's a law that you have to have some kind of small little mini trial with the jury to hear the evidence, blah, blah, blah. So they go to this trial, and the whole time, anytime her killing spree is brought up, she's like shaking her head, like, I don't even know these people died, like whatever. And yeah, so one of the investigators testified that police believed that Amy opened fire during the faculty meeting because she was angry over being denied tenure, and she targeted the ones who voted against her receiving tenure. Yes. So after a short hearing, the jury deliberated for a whole 20 minutes and found her ass guilty. And she was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. And her lawyer claimed that she expressed great remorse and was horrified by the UAH incident. She told people she had no memory of it, nothing. And then, unfortunately, Amy is just like, she does not quit. And so the story keeps going. So you thought we're done, but we're still going. So
she's like
she decides to file an appeal. And she didn't realize that with the guilty plea, she also waived her right to an appeal in the state.
Oh.
And then she claimed that she had not been told about her rights, about that she was waiving the appeal with her guilty plea. So this goes back and forth, and then eventually the court rejects it. So to this day, she's still trying to appeal it. And, oh, God, it's almost done. So not only is she so exhausting, I'm already tired of her. And now she wants to try to clear her name from her brother Seth's death. Oh. So she tells the public defender she wants to be tried for her brother's death because she wanted the truth to come out and for her and her family to finally get closure.
Who's she going to blame it on? She's been in jail this whole time thinking of an alternative story.
Yeah, and guess what? Massachusetts police, Norfolk County was like, bump that. We ain't doing this. Nope, goodbye. And so thankfully they reject that. And then I guess that's the one good thing they did, but that's probably because they're just lazy because they don't have to do any work. So still serving. Okay, so she's currently serving a sentence at the Julia Tutwiler Prison for Women in Wetumpka, Alabama.
Uh-huh.
But we have one final twist. Amy's youngest son was born on her brother Seth's birthday. So they named him Seth. And this has nothing to do with her or her prison sentence or anything. It's just a little side twist. So April of 2021, Amy's in prison. Her son and a few other friends are hanging out in a parking lot in a friend's car. These boys are like 17, 18 years old. And one of the kids has a gun and is like, look at my gun. Oh, guess what? The gun goes off.
It kills him.
And shoots and kills Seth instantly.
Oh my gosh.
The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my
The
goodness.
kid who accidentally shot the gun is still awaiting trial, but that is the story of crazy ass Amy Bishop. And her parents did speak some profound words after this. Amy is a brilliant girl, and she just snapped.
Oh.
That's
14 times she snapped.
Also, Amy has said that her IQ is now dropping in prison due to everybody's poor vocabulary.
Teach them, Amy.
And that's
Teach
the
them.
story of Lord Farquhar, Amy Bishop, and company.
She's as bad as your favorite.
Oh,
Suitcase
Sarah Boone.
girl.
She's still writing letters to the judge.
Oh gosh.
Mm-hmm.
So you wonder if, like, she's as much as did she get sad when her son got killed, or is she that much of a narcissist where she's just worried about herself?
I feel like she's just worried about herself.
Gosh, because that's devastating.
I mean, how did you shoot these people blank in the head and you're like, what happened? Who died? Ma'am.
Gosh,
I'm done with you.
gosh.
Yeah, I remember this story when it happened because I remember hearing about it. I just remember hearing about a professor who shot up because it was like school shooting. And then it was like, oh, this was a teacher. And it was like at a faculty meeting. What?
Nope. You said faculty meeting, and I was just waiting for something to flip out at a high school, or I mean at a school. Public school.
Yeah.
Not a college.
Yeah.
Wow, good story.
Wow, a lot of twists and turns.
Yeah. I love a good crazy. A good crazy.
Yep, so there you go.
Good stuff. And we haven't been to, have we ever been to Alabama?
I don't think so.
I don't think we have.
I
Okay.
was thinking Arizona, but yeah, we're in Alabama.
You did say Arizona once
Yeah,
or
because
twice.
I had Arizona on my mind because that's where Lori Vallow's trial is happening right now.
Okay. Well, did your bracket do good for the...
No.
Not at all?
I was in first, and then I was in second, and then I made fourth.
Well, mine busted kind of early. Okay, well, that is it. We will see y'all next week for a new week of Bloody Happy Hour. I guess I'll decide if I'm going to write a story. Don't forget to
Stay aware.
stay alive.
And always be DTF.
Bye, y'all.
Goodbye.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.